Hello everyone, Torloth here. I'm here today to talk about my brand new Xbox Series X. And yes, it took me a while to get it. So it looks like Stark issues are starting to get resolved, at least for the Xbox. I had a super painless path to purchase. It worked just like it should, add it to cart. Well, I did it on my phone, so click, went through, and it was painless. Absolutely painless. But you aren't here to hear me talk about buying a console on Best Buy. That's who had it. Thanks, Best Buy, for the updates and actually having a bunch to sell. You're here, you clicked on the video to hear me talk about the console. How is it? Is it worth it? And what annoys you about the console? Now, before I switch off the background and go into game, one of you out there maybe is going to go, but what about Gears 5 Hivebusters? You said it was coming. Well, it is coming. Consider this a bonus episode because I got the console and I was playing Hivebusters on my PC. I ran into a couple issues. I have beaten Hivebusters. I wrote down most of my thoughts, but I need to go through the footage and spend some time. So I'm aiming for Tuesday, and then I'll have something different, probably another game on Game Pass to show off next Saturday. But let's get to the console. Check out to be there. And we're here in Code Vein. So first things first, the loading times. I know SSDs are fast. I've been using them for 8+ years to play games off of SATA ones. And I do have one NVMe PCIe Gen 3 drive in my computer that I do run some games off of. Excuse me. But I was not prepared with how fast this game is. So Code Vein here is a game I picked because it has terrible loading times on the Xbox One that I have across the room on the other side. So to show this off, I'm gonna teleport from the missile here, and we're gonna go to we're in the Howl Pit. So let's try this Fire City. I found this one to be take a little bit longer than everything else. So we're sitting, and I found this so fast. So you already hear the missile, and we're here. That was about 7 seconds. On the Xbox One S, that takes the better part of a minute. So this is going to bring me to the first big feature of the Series X. Well, the Xbox Series, should I say. Quick resume. Now, this feature is super easy to use. It makes states for you automatically as long as you don't quit the game. If you quit the game, it closes your state. So let's try Resident Evil here. I should be just on the menu. Right? Perfect. So it'll load up, make save, do whatever. Now, I did have an error, and I've figured out what the error was. I have it written here that when I was playing Resident Evil here, I had a quick resume malfunction where I lost about 20 minutes of progress because the quick resume stopped working. What seems to have happened is because I adjusted the HDR settings something you really shouldn't touch after you set them. Like, set and forget. It broke it. It wasn't a major deal, and honestly, it's the only game that had a problem, and it's such a minor one. Like, I'm not gonna adjust the HDR settings often. If I was just playing on the monitor by myself, I would just leave it on and that's it. Because it looks great on this 27-inch 4K monitor I have here. Now, I found another really cool thing, so I'm just gonna pop the disc out here. And we're gonna take a disc. Now, this was just in there, so this is Puyo Puyo Tetris 2. I like weird games, okay? I don't think Puyo Puyo Tetris 2 would make a good video talking about it. If you like Tetris and you like Puyo Puyo, you'll probably like this game. Now, I just put the disc in. No controller. Sitting here the whole time. And it will just load up where you were last. Just by putting the disc in. That is a super cool feature that I never expected. I was just like, oh, what game do I want to play next? You know, what do I want to install next? And I put in a game and it switched to it. I put in the Falconeer and it just switched to it. So, the last thing, one of my favorite, it's actually my favorite things besides just being speedy, because I'm going to get used to it and then I'm going to go to the Xbox One and I'm going to be like, because it's so slow in comparison. Now this is my favorite feature right here. I know, it doesn't look like much. You're looking at it and you're like, what is this? Just a bunch of names with... This is groups. And groups are one of the greatest inventions of consoles or PC. Steam has something similar to this, and I always hated the way the PS4 just kind of dumps everything everywhere and you just have to go find it or search on your own console. Why can't I organize it the way I want to organize it? With stupid names like Or Never Changes, Bakamitai, Spooks, Shantae Plus. So, my library's only ever going to get bigger, and with Game Pass, it's just always going to be a thing where I'm going to be surrounded by games, and there's always going to be more games because of Game Pass, and I'm going to want to organize the ones I'm actually playing. So groups is something that the Nintendo Switch needs, and I don't know how the UI is on the PS5. I really don't bother looking at it that much. But just being able to organize my stuff by, like, even something as simple as games made by the same developer. Now, I need to talk about the bad.
I never quite realized
Why does the video
how
look so...
beautiful this world is.
Why is she
The
talking
commander's
English?
put me in charge of your maintenance, ma'am. That means I'll be performing regular checks on you from now on.
Okay, we're gonna just not watch that. Because it's in English. No English. I don't play near in English. Okay, so the bad. I briefly touched on it earlier when I was talking about quick resume with the HDR. But when you enable HDR, which is something I probably, if I was just playing by myself, I'd leave it on. I don't know if I said that already. I've recorded this a couple times. But you see this no signal thing? So I've just turned it on. We're going to go back to the game. Now, HDR is not on because it didn't do it. Let's go to a game that doesn't have HDR, but has support for auto HDR. So now the game is booted in auto HDR, as you can see there in the corner under the time. This is an annoying annoyance, and I can kind of explain what's going on. So let's start here with the main menu. The main menu here is not HDR. Doesn't support it at all. So when you go into a game, like Resident Evil per se, the splash screen that shows up showing the mansion's hall, not in HDR. The actual game, now because of AI learning and Microsoft's new coolness of auto HDR, brings the colors out in the game. But you get the monitors switching over from being on, like on HDR, to off, and then back and forth. So switching between a game, a quick resume between a game that has HDR to a game that has HDR, auto HDR, could cause a problem with the splash screen being non-HDR, or the home screen being non-HDR. To remedy this, I guess having HDR home screen and having HDR splash screens, or just an HDR something so it doesn't go flick, 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 flick. And then, because I got it to do it again, and this was the bug, because I went like this and I'm like, okay, fine. I'm tired of it. It annoys me, the turning on and off. And then sometimes it breaks the capture entirely when I turn off HDR, because the monitor is switching from non-HDR mode to HDR. And then, in this case, back and forth. So now if I go back to the game, it's here. But if I go to mirror, there's the same thing. Because it's going to load it back up as non-HDR. And then if I go back to Resident Evil, okay, the quick resume went this time. But there's kind of a bug. If you're actually in the game with Resident Evil, it'll kick out. So when you get your settings the way you like them, don't adjust them. Don't play with them. If you're going to capture, just don't use HDR. I know it sucks because it's a really cool feature and the colors just pop. It looks beautiful. And even though this capture card does support HDR, recording in it is a pain in the butt. So let's get to the end here. Overall, I think if you can find one, this is one of the best home consoles I've ever owned. It's fast, it's efficient, it just breezes through games. It plays any of the Xbox One games, plus any of the series games, and there's games coming soon, or games that just have a forward path, like Crash 4 here, which I hope doesn't have a paid upgrade, or Rogues, or Star Wars Squadrons, or Puyo Puyo Tetris, or The Falconeer. Now, Code Vein does not have a Series X patch, but it does, as you saw, look really good. So it has an Xbox One X patch. Now, games like Gears 5 do have an update, and that's great. It looks good. It looks really good, actually. It is amazing how good that game looks, and it makes me envious almost, because it didn't look quite that good on PC. Probably just the right amount of adjustments with micro settings. But Microsoft gets so many things right with this console, and the only thing that bothers me is the HDR thing. And I have seen that does, unfortunately, affect some people's smart TVs. So if you're having a lot of problems with HDR, hopefully this is something that gets rectified at some point. But there will always be content that just won't be HDR. So you're always going to get the flicker. I just hope for auto HDR titles. Excuse me, we can get splash screens that are in HDR. So, if you can find it and you like the Xbox library, go ahead. I think you will be more than happy. If you're the kind of person that likes to switch between games or have a lot of games happening at the same time or like going at the same time, you will love Quick Resume. Honestly, there's so much to like about the Xbox and its ecosystem. And with the merger with Bethesda, games are coming. I look forward to seeing what they're going to do at Tango Games Works after the merger. I think that does it for me for today. This went a little longer than I wanted. I'll look forward to very soon Gears 5 Hivebusters. It was quite the game to play, and I'm just going to edit this up and throw it up on YouTube. Thank you all for watching, and you have yourself a good week. Well, I guess I'll see you soon. Matane.